Welcome to Gapology Radio with your hosts Mark Tinas and Brian Brokoff, authors of the leadership development books Gapology, IMBAR, and Speed of Purpose. At Gapology, our purpose is to help leaders achieve their greatest potential. To learn more about our groundbreaking books and training services, visit our website, gapology.org.
Hey everybody, welcome to Gapology Radio. As you're looking for leadership development solutions, consider some of our options that we have available. We have our video-based e-learning courses on udemy.com. We have our blogs on our website or the Gapology Inspirations book that can be weekly reading assignments for your team. And we have our Gapology workbook that's designed to be a companion piece to be completed as your team or you read our Gapology book. All of these resources help make our methods stick and really come to life. Head on over to our website, gapology.org, for more details. And as for tonight, we're kicking off a new series where we discuss connection and the importance of a leader connecting with their team, their customers, their organization, and especially with themselves. So let's go ahead and get things rolling with Mark Tinas. Hey, Mark, how you doing?
Good, Brian. How are you?
Good. I'm all traumatized right now.
Why?
Oh, my mindset is it's just wrecked right now.
No.
So I was watching Alone. I don't know if you've ever seen that show. Have you seen that?
A number of times, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Right now it's just so exciting and just nerve-wracking. And if anyone out there hasn't seen Alone, you can watch it on, I know it's on Netflix for sure. That's where we're watching it now, but I also know it's on Hulu and it's also on something else. I can't remember the other one, but it's on a couple different channels, but it's fantastic. And we've watched every episode in the series, and the new series just dropped, or the new season just dropped. And so my mindset's all out of whack. I need to get focused on Gapology.
Let's do it. And we're not recommending that anyone go on the show alone. It's not a good idea.
No. Well, yeah, no one would ever want to see me on there. I would be the first one to quit. I'd be calling the first evening as soon as I heard bear growl. Right?
Yeah.
They have a phone and they just tap out, they call it. So anyway, so my mindset's off, but I think we can talk about T times M equals P. I think that would be a good topic. So talent times mindset equals performance. And this topic came up. One of our colleagues reached out this past week, wanting to know a little more information on T times M equals P. And we've talked about it in the past, probably a year ago. So I think it's a good time to bring it back for this new series that we're starting tonight on connection. So how we as leaders connect with our teams, our customers, our business, and ourselves to improve performance and results. So I thought this would be a good episode to kick this off.
Yeah, I think so. And I said to you earlier tonight in a separate phone conversation that if every leader that listens to tonight's podcast knew T times M equals P, it would change their lives, it would change their careers, it would change their results, et cetera. Mm-hmm. And we realize that they likely don't know it. So this is big time.
Yeah. I think, of all the tools that we have in Gapology, this one, probably the habit ladder, is probably the number one most responded to tool, but I would say this one's a close second. Yeah,
the habit ladder is incredible, and it's unrelated really to this. The habit ladder works, and it went worldwide with a number of companies. But T times M equals P is about leadership. And when you learn it, it makes you powerful. So can I jump in?
Yeah, go ahead.
So in our Gapology research over the years where we were understanding and formalizing Gapology, and we viewed it as a discovery in winning leaders, we also found T times M equals P. It sort of came along. And it's an equation that came to light. So the T is talent, the M is mindset, and we said that equals performance when they're multiplied together. So picture the skill of an individual in their role, 0 to 10, give it a number. multiplied by their attitude, their mindset, and give it a 0 to 10, number, that equals their performance. So we came across this and realized that it was real. So the first thing that I did was I think I had 20 direct reports at the time that we found this discovery. That's what I call it. So I quickly came up with the T for each of the 20 people that reported to me, and the M for each of the 20, and therefore multiplied it to 0 to 100 to get their performance. And I looked at it, and I looked at it, and then I matched it up with their actual results, and I realized that it was real. So T times M equals P is real. The number that came up for their performance literally correlated to their actual performance. So T times M equals P, talent times mindset equals performance, is a very real equation that leaders can use to evaluate the performance of their team and affect, change, etc., the performance of their team. What did I miss in that story about the introduction, Brian?
I think you hit on everything. One additional thing I would like to say is that this equation is really for the use of the leader. So it's for your information, for your knowledge. It's not something that you would post and publish to the team. Hey, this is where I see your teammates, M, and where I see your teammates' talent and so forth. This is something for you to use yourself and then reflect back on your performance as a leader and how you impact the different parts of the equation.
Yeah, it's a great point. I don't find any, to your point, I don't find any value in sharing this with the team. It's about you understanding where they're at and you understanding how to impact that. But it was incredible to me to realize that it correlated with the actual results. The other thing then that stood out that was absolutely mind-blowing for me was that 7 times 7 was the key. So we call that the rule of 49. So 49 on a test score doesn't sound good to you, I'm sure. But trust me, when you get the team or individuals to 7 by 7, they begin to perform at expectations and above. So on my team, when I matched them up, everyone that was 7 by 7 or above exceeded expectations. Unbelievable. So that became the number, the rule of 49. So we talk about that in Gapology. That was the number. So what I did immediately was I began using that as an interview tool. So for external candidates, I needed 7 by 7. I didn't know them. I may overestimate them. For internal candidates, I would go with a 6 by 7. I would allow their talent to be down 1 because I knew they needed development, but I needed the mindset at a 7, which would drive up the talent. And that worked. 7 by 7 minimum external, 6 by 7 minimum internal worked for me. And our results were company leading, industry leading, and I can assure you that T times M equals P created that.
Yeah, I think the important piece is really being honest with your rating. So, looking for evidence. So what is telling you that this person scores at this particular level? Being honest, not overrating them, not underrating, trying to be as clear and precise as you can, and looking for behavioral evidence, especially if it's somebody that's internal, that you can look at behavioral evidence that's determining that rating.
No, that's a great point. And the one rule I applied there was if I was in doubt whether someone was a 5 or a 6, I always went with the lower number. That was my rule. Mm-hmm. If in doubt, you go with the lower number. And that just keeps it safe. But it was incredible. I mean, I was looking at this chart of my team, and understanding that the underperformers were the underperformers because their talent and or their mindset was below what would cause them to get to that 49 level. Mm-hmm. And that everyone at 49 and above, 7x7 and above, was exceeding results, and that was key. The other thing that was shocking to me as I looked at this was that talent and mindset were equal in determining results, in determining performance. So that if someone had a 6, but they were an 8 or a 9 in mindset, they're 6 in talent, but 8 or a 9 in mindset, they could overcome the lack of talent and quickly bring that up as well. So it was shocking to me. And it also caused me to understand why the best sports teams, the ones that pay the most money for the greatest players, don't always win the World Series or the Heisman Trophy or whatever you're looking at. That isn't how it is. Mindset plays an equal role to talent. Don't forget that.
Oh, yeah. One other thing that occurred to me as a leader, it's important that you know what that rating is. So if you don't have an idea of somebody's talent or mindset, if you're looking at the sheet of paper, you're trying to write it down, trying to figure out the equation, and you're like, I'm not sure what their mindset really is. I think that is your action item. I would start creating a list of action items as a leader and start to investigate. Go visit that person, pick up the phone, and do it with intent around discovery of that rating. So look for the evidence, look for the behaviors, the actions that they're doing on a daily, weekly basis. Look for that information. Just dig in right there. That's your action item.
Yeah. So the big realization for me right there was that I played a role.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
I played a role in their T, and I played a role in their M. And if I was having a bad day, I could screw up the M of everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why come to work?
Yeah. Stay home.
Take the day off. Stay home. And I don't have days like that in general, according to me. But think about that. The leader plays a significant role. So the next evolution of all of this for me was, oh my God, I own the T and the M of my entire team, and I can affect the T and the M of my entire team. Mm-hmm. I can affect the M every day. I can send a congratulatory thank you message to the team every morning to just boost their M a little bit to get the day started. But the bigger thing is if I devote my life to changing their T, I can change everything. So I realize that I play a role. I play a big role. The leader owns this. Suddenly I realized that the T and the M on the chart of my team was my chart. That was a reflection of my leadership. And that's when things really changed.
Looking at your own mindset, that's something you can control to some extent. So if you find that you are in a funk or you've experienced some sort of traumatic experience, during the day, something that really throws you off your game, I think that's a time to be aware of it, take a step back, maybe disconnect for a bit, go walk around the block, whatever you need to do.
Yeah, don't share it with everyone else.
No, yeah, recognize that and take action to try to correct it.
Yeah, that's huge. Mm-hmm. So the big realization I had was that I could drive the T if I devoted myself during the time that I was with my team. Every week I was with a different group and a different significant leader. If I devoted that week to driving up their T, let's say that they're a 6, and I work on getting them to a 7, in 1 week, or a 7 to an 8 in 1 week, because I might not be with them again, for a couple of months. If I could move their T, the amazing thing that happened was it also moved their M. Do you know why, Brian?
Well, I think it's all about connection, what our topic is. So
it's all about connection.
Yeah, when you're connecting with somebody at that level and you're helping to move their T, they know that you care. They know that you're invested in them, and that automatically will impact their mindset.
Yeah. So if I devote my time to increasing their talent level, to developing them, their mindset grows. And I calculate the rate at 1.5 times. So what I concluded, and I think Brian agrees with me, is that if their T goes up by 1, the mindset goes up by 1.5, because they know they're valued. They know they're cared about. They know they have a future. They feel better about themselves. They are more skilled. Everything changes. When you change the talent level of an individual by 1, their mindset soars. So as a leader, I can change the T and dramatically change the M, and therefore change performance. So talent times mindset equals performance becomes something that a leader can have a mission around, and results just go crazy. And most leaders do not know this. They do not devote their week to increasing the T. Think about that, Brian. Do they?
Yeah. No, exactly.
No,
they're
not even on the list.
No, usually where they go right to the P. They're trying to correct performance, but they're not addressing the T or the M.
Yeah. So when you step back and develop the talent of an individual, it's long lasting.
Yeah.
It changes their career. It changes their life. It changes their trajectory. It changes their M. So talent times mindset equals performance. When the talent goes up, the mindset goes up even more, which means the performance goes up even more. So once we learned this, not only were we leading the company, that was easy. We were leading the industry, and T times M equals P was a significant player and a total game changer. And really, it applies to all aspects of life. It applies to your team members. It applies to subordinates. It applies to your peer group. It applies to your supervisor. Think about that. It applies to your kids. It applies to your relationships. T times M equals P is a big deal. But our realization is that most of you listening tonight don't know it and haven't leveraged it, and it could be the most significant thing you've done as a leader.
Yeah, there's a couple of things that occurred to me there. First of all, I think T times M equals P. It can be very situational. I think you could be in a specific situation and have a specific talent and a specific mindset that's impacting your performance in that situation or that project or that thing that you're working on or whatever. So I think it can be very situational. So when you're measuring your team, I think it's important to understand in what frame of reference you're rating your team. And the second thing is, I think T times M equals P, I think it ebbs and flows. I think it's variable. So your talent, I think that can ebb and flow, but I think your mindset absolutely ebbs and flows back and forth. And so it's important for the leader to understand that and be looking for evidence of those things.
Yeah, no doubt. The final big revelation that I would share. So I've scored my team. I realize that T times M equals P is real. It matches right up with their actual results. It's significant. I realized then, of course, that as a leader, I affect both their T and their M. And, that was a huge realization for me. And once I started impacting those and understanding that, again, results soared. But the last huge revelation for me was scoring myself.
Yeah.
And when I scored myself, I came to realize that if I could increase my T and my M, Guess what happened to the team's performance, Brian?
Yeah, it improved.
It went up. So my T and my M affected the team. So I had to have a path of continuous development of myself. I couldn't sit stagnant. I needed to grow. As a leader, I needed to grow. And when I grew, the team grew. When my mindset improved, so did that of the team. So that was huge to me. And it affected my career. It affected the results of the organization. It affected everything. And so T times M equals P is very real. And take a look at yourself. Chart yourself in with your team when you do it. See where you're at. Never exaggerate or set the number higher than it should be. Be very real about it and work to improve it. But that was huge for me. And I understood that if I could move up my T and M, that I would move up the overall performance of the entire team by elevating their talent and their mindset.
Yeah, I think it's a great tool. It's really a wonderful leadership tool. Use it to identify where to adjust your behaviors as a leader. That's a key piece here. It's about you. It's about your behaviors and leading them. And there's a couple of things you can do using the Gapology model. So, when you're looking at talent, you're trying to increase talent, look at the knowledge gap. We've got some great tools in Gapology there for closing the knowledge gap with your team and with yourself. Training, teaching, talent are the root solutions there. When you're looking at trying to impact the mindset, look at closing the importance gap. We've got root solutions, expectations, communication, prioritization. There's some great tools in there for that. A lot of these tools are right in Gapology, and T times M equals P is one of our most powerful ones.
Yeah, really, really life-changing. And as a leader, you will set yourself apart because most of your peers do not know about it. Mm-hmm. And it is a game changer. I use that term too often, but it changes everything.
Yeah. And it builds real connection with your team. Learning that, digging in, investigating, that helps to build real connection with your team.
Well said.
All right.
Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, this is great, Mark. We'll talk to you next week.
Talk to you then.
All right. Bye. All right, that'll do it from here. For more information on Gapology, IMBAR, or Speed of Purpose, head on over to our website, gapology.org. Everyone have a fantastic week. We'll talk to you soon.
This has been a Gapology Institute production. Visit us at gapology.org.